Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please join us today in the study of Srimadbhagavatam. Today we'll be covering Srimadbhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 75, Duryodhana Humiliated. So please join us for the Jai Radha Mother prayers. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Please join us for Mangalacharan prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Please let's do the remaining prayers together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiriye shautam swakatha krishna punya shamana kirtanaha hridayantasto bhadrani vidunoti swasatam nashtaprayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishiki. Hare Krishna. So today we will be covering Srimadbhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 75, Duryodhana Humiliated. Text 1 and 2. Shri Rāja
Shri Rāja
Ajata Shatrustam Drishtva
Ajate Shastrustam Drishtva
Rājasūya Mahodayam
Rājasūya Mahodayam
Sarve Mumudire Brahman
Sarve Mumudire Brahman
Nradevaye Samagataha
Hridevaye Samagata
Duryodhanam Varjayatva
Duryodhanam Varjayatva
Rājana Sarshayah Suraha
Rājana Sarshaya Sura
Iti Shrutam no Bhagavams
Iti Shutvam no Bhagavams
Tatra Karanam Mucyatam.
Tatra Karanam Mucyatam.
Please.
Shri Rāja
Shri Rāja
Ajate Shastrustam Drishtva
Ajata Shatrustam Drishtva
Rājasūyam Mahodayam
Rājasūya Mahodayam
Sarve Mumudire Brahman
Sarve Mumudire Brahman
Hridevaye Samagata
Nradevaye Samagataha
Duryodhanam Varjayatva
Duryodhanam Varjayatva
Rājana Sarsaya Sura
Rājana Sarshayah Suraha
Iti Shrutam no Bhagavans
Iti Shrutam no Bhagavams
Tatra Karanam Uchyatam
Tatra Karanam Uchyatam. Shri Raja Uvacha.
Shri Rāja
The king Parikshit said,
The king Parikshit said,
Ajata Shatruho
Ajata Shatru
of Yudhishthir,
of Yudhishthir,
whose enemy was never born,
whose enemy was never born,
Tam, that Drishtva, seeing Rājasūya,
Rājasūya,
of the Rājasūya sacrifice, Maha, great, Udayam, the festiveness, Sarve, all, Mumudire, were delighted, Brahman, O Brahman Shukadev, Nradevaha, the kings, ye, who, Samagataha, assembled, Duryodhanam, Duryodhan, Varjayatva, accepting, Rājana, kings, together with Rishaya, sages, Suraha, and demigods. Iti, thus, Shrutam, heard, Naha, by us, Bhagavan, my Lord, Tatra, for that, Karanam, the reason, Uchyatam, please speak.
Please speak.
Hare Krishna. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj Parikshit said, O Brahman, according to what I have heard from you, all the assembled kings, sages and demigods were delighted to see the wonderful festivities of King Ajashatru's Rājasūya sacrifice, with the sole exception of Duryodhana. Please tell me why this was so, O my Lord. There is no purpose. We'll cover next few verses. Shri Bhadrayani said, at the Rājasūya sacrifice of a saintly grandfather, his family members, bound by their love for him, engaged themselves in humble service on his behalf. Purport: King Yudhishthira did not force his relatives to accept different tasks at the sacrifice. Rather, out of their love for him, they volunteered for such duties. Very important, the next translation, so covering that as well. Text 5 through 7, translation. Bhim supervised the kitchen. Duryodhana looked after the treasury, while Sahadev respectfully greeted the arriving guests. Nakul procured needed items. Arjuna attended the respectable elders, and Krishna washed everyone's feet, while Draupadi served food and generous Karna gave out the gifts. Many others, such as Yuyudhan, Vikarna, Hardikya, Vidur, Burishrava and other sons of Bahalik and Santardhan, similarly volunteered for various duties during the elaborate sacrifice. They did so because of their eagerness to please Maharaj Yudhishthira, O best of kings. Hare Krishna. So now we'll pay obeisances. I will pay obeisances to my spiritual master. And starting with Srila Prabhupada, of course. Happy Father's Day to all. So this is an auspicious day where we are not just, looking for blessings from our fathers, and those who are fathers, not just they are giving blessings to their sons, but rather, our spiritual fathers as well. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshitarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tadaham Vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. I pay obeisances to my spiritual master, my Diksha Guru, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, and to my Shiksha Gurus, His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, His Holiness Rumapad Maharaj, and His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Let's chant the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Happy Father's Day to all. And of course, we all pay obeisances to Lord Shri Krishna, because he says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Aham Bij Pradah Pita. So he's a supreme father. So happy Father's Day to Shri Radha Shyam Sundar. Of course, we yesterday discussed that the energy is inseparable from energetic. So without mother, there cannot be father. So again, we pay obeisances to our parents, in essence. So this chapter starts with Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj. He is inquiring from Shukdev Goswami. Because in the previous chapter, Shukdev Goswami revealed that in this great sacrifice, king of sacrifices, Rājasūya yajna, there was one personality who was still not happy. And who's this? Duryodhana, one who is easily taking to quarrel, creating reasons to quarrel. And here we will be discussing how there are 3 gates of hell, to hell actually. So 3 gates to hell have been revealed by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna: lust, anger and greed. And we'll be also looking at various lessons, how these in very subtle manner overcome us. And they simply start with an example where when there was a decision was being made, before Indraprastha was given, Duryodhana was saying, I'm the king. And, Acharyas was saying, actually, let's judge who is better candidate, Duryodhana, who's also known as Suyodhana, or Yudhishthira Maharaj. So they sent out, them giving different tasks. They asked Duryodhana to wander around the whole kingdom of Hastinapur and find one person, who is best, right? Who has no faults. So, who's the best of all. And, who has all good qualities and no bad quality. And they asked Yudhishthira Maharaj to go around and find a person who has a bad quality. So when Duryodhana and Yudhishthira Maharaj, they returned after wandering the whole kingdom, Duryodhana said that he could not find any person of good quality. He himself is of best quality. And Yudhishthira Maharaj came back saying he could not find any person of bad quality because he saw all the bad qualities in him. And he could not find anyone else. So Yudhishthira Maharaj took the humble position that I am the most fallen. Duryodhana took the position that I am the most elevated. So that is what in delusion happens to a demon, that he doesn't see any good quality in anyone. And that is the nature of Duryodhana, to understand that he would not even have an umbrella over his head. Because how can something be over his head? So that was a hurt to his false ego. He would go out in scorching afternoons, but not accept an umbrella because it would come over his head. And nothing can come above him. So that was his mentality. So this is where lust, anger and greed is driving pride in him. And this pride is leading to envy. And his Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he identifies you can use all other activities, but envy cannot be used in Krishna's service. Yes, it can be, you can use all other qualities, but envy is a quality. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, Matsar, lust, anger, greed, delusion, madness, and so forth. These are bad qualities that, we should not hoard. And sometimes when we hoard too much of them, they become so subtle that we don't even realize. How is that possible? Well, in Chinese terms, means again, they cook this, non-vegetarian stuff. And they give this example of a frog. They put a frog in the pot with normal temperature, and the frog is nicely swimming. And slowly they put the flame on. And even if they don't put a lid, the frog is happy. They put various kind of food stuff. The frog is happy nibbling on this food stuff. He is happy. So the frog is just, swimming in this, pot. The water is increasing. It sees that the water is increasing, but it somehow, adjusts its body temperature to meet the water. And even though it can escape, the top is open, it doesn't escape. This is the amazing aspect. That even though it's nibbling, it's comfortable. It's making itself comfortable. That is, and when it comes to the boiling point, at that time, even when the frog wants to escape, it has no more strength to escape. And finally dies and gets boiled. So that's our life. That we are constantly being tormented by material energy and being bombarded with these desires. And these desires are said to be like, in the ocean as these rivers are flowing in. That's the way these desires constantly are flowing towards. And if we are not equipoised and come out of it, we don't realize this. And so again, sometimes equipoise has been misunderstood as well. That we have to understand what is coming our way. Yes, we don't have to take to these desires, but the miseries of this material world, we need to look at the solution. Why am I here? What is the purpose of my life? Why am I constantly serving? Why are bad things happening to good people? Why is there so much pain around the world? Why is there so much anxiety, so much agony all around the world? We have to ask these questions timely, not just, push it under the rug, just sweep it under the rug. That is not the attitude. So we have to constantly improve ourselves, that at the same time examine this world, our surroundings, to see why these are happening and what is my solution now, instead of saying, I'll find a solution tomorrow. Hey, I have to chant my japa rounds, I'll chant them tomorrow. No, that should not be the attitude. We have to do things now. Right? There is a saying, Kal kare so aaj kare so ab. Pal mein pralay hoegi, bahuri karega kab. So again, various poets and saints in our Vedic culture, they have given us some amazing tips. These are facts of life. That don't wait for tomorrow, do it today. Don't wait for today, do it now, because pralaya, the destruction can happen at any moment. Then when will you do it? So that is an important aspect that we learn from this example of a frog being boiled in a pot with an open mouth. So again, it can escape, but it doesn't escape. So that is the nature of this material world, makes us comfortable. We somehow adjust in it. And then we say, oh, it's too late, what can I do? My life has passed. Just like this boiling temperature happens, as the life passes, we go through those 6 stages, from birth to growing, then to maintaining and having kids and progeny and so forth. And then we start to dwindle away, and then we die. So old age and death. So this is a common cycle of 6 stages that every living entity goes through in this material world. We humans go through, animals go through, insects go through, the aquatics go through, all kind of living entities, they go through this. And we are constantly experiencing this misery, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanudarshanam. Birth, death, old age and disease. These are the various miseries that we are constantly experiencing. And we should learn these lessons that, why are they happening? And how can I save myself? And one simple way of saving yourself is just calling out in surrender, raising your hand and chanting to the Lordship. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So constantly calling out for the mercy to our Supreme Father through our Mother, Hare. We are calling out to Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, that please engage us in your service. I am tired of serving this material energy. I'm tired of serving this material energy and constantly suffering. And the precious human life, that is also very important that we need to focus on. That only in this human life we have the intelligence. We have a great responsibility. Every facility that we get, every extra thing that we get in this material world has its purpose. So we have to use it correctly. We have to use it in the right manner. So we also talked about the prayer Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings. Bhajahu re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abahu Charanara Vindare Dulabha Manava Janama Satsange Tarahu Re Bhava Sindhure. So again, we need to cross over this material ocean. Shita Tatapa Vatavarishana Yedinayamini Jagire Vipala Sevunu Kripana Durjana Chapala Sukha Labha Lagire. Not serve anymore these miserly people. Kripana Durjana, these wicked people surrounding us sometimes, the materialists are being referred. And Chappala Sukhalabha Lagire, by taking shelter of the lotus feet of our Supreme Father Lord Shri Krishna, by following the instructions of our spiritual masters and our preeminent Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, let's cross over and Chappala Sukhalabha Lagire. Ye dhana yavana putra parijana ite kiya che parati tire. Kamal dal jala jivan tal mala bhajahu hari padani tire. Ye dhana yavana putra parijana. This wealth, this youth, all my sons and my family members, they're all fallen soldiers. And this life is just like a drop that rolls over, the water drop rolls over the leaf of a lotus. So lotus leaf has wax on it. That's why it just rolls over so quickly. That is like this life quickly rolls over. So that's why we have to engage in devotional service. We have to engage in Hari Kirtan. Shravana Kirtana Smaran Vandana Pad Sevana Dasya Re Pujana Sakhi Jana Atmanivedana Govinda Dasa Bhilash Re. Engage in the 9 process of devotional service and worship. Pray to the Supreme Father, pray to the Supreme Lord Govinda. His name is Govinda, glorified as one who gives pleasure to the senses. He is the only one who can satisfy our senses. And in His service, we experience transcendental bliss. We experience lasting peace. And this transcendental bliss that overcomes us is going to make us happy eternally. So that's why we want to engage in His service. We don't want to engage in the service of material energy. So that is a mood of a devotee. A devotee understands that this material world is a place where we have been thrown in the ocean and we have been constantly being slapped left and right by the waves of this ocean. And at that time, we can only take shelter of Lord Krishna, who is Govinda. And he says, Tesham aham samuddhata mrityu sansara sagarat bhavami na chirat patha maya veshata chetasam. So he says, I am a swift deliverer from this ocean of birth and death. Mrityu sansara sagarat. So that is a lesson we need to take. So my request is, all those who are fathers, who have sons, pray for your sons, because Lord is so merciful. If we pray for our children, that, oh Lord, please make them your devotee, they will have this blessing. There is a wonderful incident. This is from His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj. He shares that first time when he met Srila Prabhupada, he, as soon as he, saw after Srila Prabhupada gave his discourse, Srila Prabhupada, he asked, do you want to be God or do you want to serve God? So at that time, Giriraj Maharaj, he was surprised when he heard that. He's like, as if Srila Prabhupada is looking through me into my heart. And Srila Prabhupada had this amazing vision that he could just directly connect with a living entity. Because Giriraj Maharaj, he said that in my room, in the dormitory, he actually had a picture pointing a finger saying that you can become God. So again, based on Mayavad philosophy. And Srila Prabhupada asked him that question and he was surprised. But afterwards, Srila Prabhupada continued on his tour and so forth. And Giriraj Maharaj, he joined the movement. He became a devotee in the temple. And when Srila Prabhupada came one day to the temple and he was giving his discourse and he could see Giriraj Maharaj, and he said, asked him to come forward and he was to converse. And he said, when I saw you, I looked at you and I prayed to Krishna, such a good boy. Oh Lord, please make him your devotee. Such a good boy. Please make him your devotee. He's sincere, please. So Giriraj Maharaj was always wondering, how could he become a devotee? Now he understood that it was Srila Prabhupada's prayers that caused Lord Krishna to make him his devotee, to give mercy to Giriraj Maharaj so that he could become devotee. So all fathers, you have this amazing opportunity today. Pray for your children. Pray for your sons and daughters to Lord Krishna. Pray for their benefit so that they can come out of this ocean of birth and death and they can experience the transcendental bliss by engaging in devotional service and not relying on the fallen soldiers that we get through families, relatives and others, through the wealth and so forth. Because Lakshmi is always happy when she is serving Lord Krishna. Only at the lotus feet of Vishnu she is happy serving. She is not going to stay. She is chanchala by her very nature. She is always wandering. But when she serves the lotus feet, she feels pleasure. So even there she feels pleasure. So we should constantly seek to serve Lord Krishna. So here in this chapter, I'll cover the gist of the chapter, but some folks had been asking who were the various sages who were invited. So that was given in chapter 74, verse 8 and 9. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, he had called various sages to perform this Rājasūya sacrifice. So many of these sages, who are also Prajapatis, had actually performed the Rājasūya sacrifice in the case of Varun Dev. And all the utensils and the plough that was used to, to inaugurate as well as to be used in this Rājasūya sacrifice, the king of all sacrifices, were made of gold, pure gold. So various sages, they were selected. They were Krishna Dvapanya Vyas. So this is father of Shukdev Goswami. Then Bharadwaj, Sumantu, Gautama and Asita, along with Vashishta, Chavana, Kanva, Maitreya, Kavasha and Trita. Yudhishthira Maharaj also selected Vishwamitra, Vamadev, not Vamandev, Vamadev, Sumati, Jaimini, Kratu, Paila and Parashar. So Parashar is Srila Vyasdev's father. As well as Garga, Vaishampayana, Atharva, Kashyapa, Daumya, Ram of the Bhargavas, Asuri, Vitihotra, Madhuchanda, Veerasena and Akratavrana. So these were the great sages who were invited, and along with them Dronacharya was invited, Bhishma Pitama was invited, and Dhritarashtra, Vidur, they were invited. And we saw how everyone wanted to engage in various services. So because of love for Lord Krishna, Lord Yudhishthira, King Yudhishthira, they wanted to serve in Rājasūya sacrifice. And what was the service Lord Krishna took? He took the service to wash the feet of all the guests. Not just the sages, actually, it is amazing that he took that service. Krishna washed everyone's feet. So all the guests who came for this Rājasūya sacrifice. And so Agra Puja, at the time of Agra Puja, he was the one who was worshipped and Shishupal was delivered. So in Rājasūya sacrifice, the first most auspicious activity that happened was that Jai Vijay, they were cursed for 3 lives. So Jai's 3rd life was complete and he was able to go back to Vaikuntha, which is an auspicious event. Sometimes people who are still new, they can consider demons that Lord Krishna is killing to be bad. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur does, warn us that yes, don't be a demon, don't have that mentality, don't be driven by lust, anger, greed, don't be driven by kam, krodh, lobha, mad, matsara. Because these are anarthas, these are bad qualities, right? We should not hold. And if you continue to act with these bad qualities, and the action is performed in 3 different ways, with mind, body and words. Your words, your mind, even thinking about it in mind, and then your body, the various actions you will perform with our senses. So anything that we perform is done in these 3 manners. So we should be very careful even to think of a negative thought because it is contaminating. How is it contaminating, you would say? So there's a very nice story I would like to share. So once, on a Father's Day, this boy, he said to his father, happy Father's Day, with this mood that now father will treat him nicely and then he can demand things. So the father treats him very nicely, my dear son, kisses him, and the son says, well, I want this, this, this. And the father says, this is not a birthday, let it be a nice day. But the kid did not understand it properly. So he hurt his father, he kicked his father, and his father did not like it. So father was angry, but because this is his son, he could not take his anger out. So father went out, on that particular day. It just happened that he kind of was keeping that anger in his heart, this hurtful feeling. He was morose all day. And next day when he went to work, he, anyone he met, he was angry with them. He's lashing out his anger to all his subordinates and so forth. Now these subordinates became upset that they were being, punished, or they were being mistreated for no reason of theirs, maybe a minor fault, but not such a grievous punishment. And so they became unhappy, and they, being upset, they mistreated their subordinates. And finally, there was a peon in the office who was serving everyone. So everybody mistreated that peon. So the peon was, he didn't have anyone else under him. So he was feeling like what to do, and he was feeling really upset. So he went home and he lashed out on his wife, his anger. Because when he came home, she asked, "Why are you so late? Why didn't you do these things I asked you to do?" So for no fault of her, just asking for those things, he lashed out and he beats her up and says harsh things. And now she is feeling hurt that why did I get this? So she mistreats her son and beats him up. And now the son is feeling that at home I get beaten by my parents and my house life is not good. So he has to take out his anger someday. So he goes to the next day at school and he sees some rich kids who are getting all kind of facilities. He picks up one kid and he beats up that kid and takes away all the things. And this kid happens to be the same kid who had hit his father. So what goes around comes around. Yet at the same time, when it comes around, it can spread so much negativity. If we spread negativity at one spot, it can just scatter away and make the whole world poisonous. We are seeing in the case of COVID-19, a practical example in our life, we are actually experiencing it. That just because it started from one small place, it's scattering all over the place. And now there's so much negativity being, generated all around the globe that everyone is just blaming that why did it start and when did it start. And it's very interesting that sometimes instead of curing the disease, we start blaming the disease. Let me ask you a very simple thing. If you have been, if you have contracted any disease, say for example, malaria is a common one in India. So if you get malaria, do you search out which was the mosquito that bit me? Because actually the mosquito is also a host of the living entity that causes malaria. So I'm kind of like trying to remember. I used to be a biology student as well, the name of that. But anyway, so even that is a host and we become a host as well. So actually it is a third party that is causing it. But since mosquito is there, do we even look for the mosquito? Which was that mosquito? Let me ask this mosquito, why did you bite me? Why did you give this malaria to me? No. We try to look for solution. Because if we look back at the negative aspect, then it will only create negativity, right? And we will only be lashing out. We are not looking for the solution. What is the need of current time is for everyone to forget how it started, but rather come together to find the cure. That is the mood. Don't be like the frog to kind of like adjust and then kind of like, blame other things. No. And lose our strength in this process. Don't be like the dad who was mistreated because of a misbehaving child, and so he lashed out on others. Don't be like that. Let's not spread negativity. Rather, we have an amazing opportunity to spread transcendental bliss by reading Srimadbhagavatam, by hearing Srimadbhagavatam, by discussing the glories of Lord Shri Krishna, because it is the most purifying activity. And of all the most purifying means, again, we are talking of Rājasūya Yajna, right? That Yudhishthira Maharaj, he carries out. Yet at the same time, Rājasūya Yajna only, elevates one from Yamaraj assembly to Indradev's assembly. Yet there is the topmost Yajna that is easily available in this age. But we ignore it. This is the Sankirtan Yajna, which can completely take us out of this material world and send us to the spiritual world. Why do we look for the first class, jail, instead of the third class here? Why try to elevate ourselves to heavenly planes where still Janmetri Jaravati, Dukh Doshanudashana, still the miseries of this material world are there. Still all kind of sufferings are there. Rather, we should get out of this material world, go to the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, back to Godhead, to serve Lord Krishna with love and devotion. It's just a moment of reciprocation. We take 1 step towards Krishna, he takes 10 steps towards us. So, this Sankirtan Yajna starts simply by raising our hand and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And by taking to this congregation chanting, by taking to the japa process, we can purify our life. And when we spread happiness, it spreads further and further. So let's look for the cure, and the topmost cure is by chanting of holy name, because that will deliver the soul, not just the body but the soul. So that should be our mentality. So here in this particular chapter, let's quickly cover. There are three main events. Again, I'm splitting into three main events for the convenience. So one is Parikshit Maharaj inquiring from Shukdev Goswami, and Shukdev Goswami revealing to him that your grandfather, who's the grandfather of Parikshit Maharaj? Seminal grandfather, if you look, it's Arjun. But then the five brothers, Pandavas, were considered, right? Because it was not Arjun when Parikshit Maharaj was born who called for the astrologers. Yudhishthira Maharaj is like Bade Papa, right? Big father. So he is calling out all the Brahmanas and asking about when at the time of birth of Parikshit Maharaj, as what is going to be his life like. And he is very happy to hear that Parikshit Maharaj is going to glorify the Kuru dynasty. And so Shukdev Goswami is revealing. Now Shukdev Goswami is appearing as 16-year-old. He is son of Dharpana Vyasadev. Yudhishthira Maharaj is son of Pandu, who is son of Dharpana Vyasadev. So from that perspective, somebody could say Shukdev Goswami is at the same level as, King Pandu. So he is very respected. He is like great-grandfather. And actually, even though Shukdev Goswami has the body of a 16-year-old, he is much older than Pandu. He is much, by centuries older. But he has this body of a 16-year-old boy. Just like the Chaturkumars, they have a body of 5-year-olds. We have covered this in another classes earlier, so in other classes at length. And this actually brings a very interesting point, but let's cover the quick gist of the chapter. So Duryodhana is happy that Shukdev Goswami reveals it. And then when Parikshit Maharaj inquires, Shukdev Goswami narrates the remaining part. So after the Agra Puja, all the ceremonies, Dvitiya, Tritiya Pujas and other activities, they were nicely performed. And then there is this bath that is being performed, right? So the king and the queen, they take this bath. I'm just trying to, the name is escaping. So they take this purifying bath in the Ganges. And this Ganges is actually Yamuna in Hastinapur. So again, just crossing near Hastinapur and Indraprastha. So this Ganges is Yamuna is called Ganges. So they take bath in Yamuna. And there is a very nice, when His Grace Dinbandhu Prabhu, he takes out people for, parikrama, Vrindavan parikrama, and he takes them to Yamuna and they're taking a dip. He says, it is very purifying to take dip in Ganges, only take away the reactions of your sinful activities. But Yamuna is more purifying because she takes away the reactions of your pious and impious activities. The moment he says that, some people step out. They step out fearing that if, because their mood is that we don't want to suffer, but we want to enjoy. This is partial, less intelligence, right? This is to not understand why take birth again, go through the misery of birth and death just to enjoy the fruits of your pious activity. Rather engage in devotional service so there is no reaction and you go back home, back to Godhead. So it goes on, that particular account goes on accumulating, and one day you have this opportunity. And why one day? In this life itself, we should make every effort to get out of this material world. So Duryodhana, Yudhishthira Maharaj, he goes to this. Duryodhana is still upset. There is various reasons giving. We'll cover those aspects as well. So we have this chance of greater good, by engaging in devotional service. So Yudhishthira Maharaj and Draupadi, they take this bath, and afterwards all the personalities who had come, they are giving gifts. But this bath is followed by a very amazing ceremony. And it is said that pure humans and, they would enjoy, pure men and women, they would enjoy, while a person who is with contaminated heart would become lusty and get disturbed. And this is the event where they actually perform holy-like ceremony, which is where the various queens of Krishna and other queens, they come and they are, with syringes, they are throwing water on their husbands and their cousins. So at that time, husbands, cousins. So again, Lord Krishna and Arjuna have been specifically identified that they were throwing water and yogurt and milk on these ladies, and so their dress was getting wet. And so looking at their dress, they look very beautiful, but a person who is with contaminated heart, a contaminated mind, would become lusty and become disturbed. So in this material world, everyone is looking for beauty. Yet at the same time, the beauty only agitates if we are not of pure heart. When we look at the deities, however, even if we are not pure of heart, when we look at deities, our senses are pacified. We feel calm. We feel, transcendental bliss. They are looking so beautiful. Every part of their body is amazingly beautiful, amazingly carved. And by looking at them, we feel the bliss in our heart and our senses are pacified. So if we want to look at the topmost beauty, we should look at the deities. We should look at the form of Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, Shri Shri Banke Bihari Rasi, and so forth. So again, we should look at the deities' form, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai. So it is very interesting. If you really want to, score a touchdown. So in America, people play football, right? And it's different than the soccer. So the same word football is being used in India and Eastern countries for soccer. So this football is where they have this oval-shaped ball and they throw and they want to make a touchdown. So all you need to do is bow down in front of the lordships, and then you get up and you see that Gauranita is claiming that he just had a touchdown. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. So again, that's a simple way of getting this touchdown. Today is a great opportunity to score a touchdown just by bowing our heads in front of the deities and appreciate the form of the deities, just looking from their feet to knees to, to moving up our eyes to their, beautiful faces. And so here, they are having wonderful opportunity to, exchange this. Now, compare this incident of a Holi to our current Holi. Let's just look at it. What they are throwing? They are throwing water, yogurt, milk, which is mixed with turmeric and saffron, giving it lustrous yellow color. And this lustrous yellow color make everyone glow more and more. In today's time, is a perverted reflection. The Holi is like a perverted reflection of this pastime. And of course, the similar pastime at Nandotsav. So every time there were festivities, they would do this kind of holy kind of event right after that, after successful, completion of the event. Today in Holi, we throw these colors. Sometimes people even throw mud and put even grease and all that stuff, abominable things. These are very hurting to the body. And even the gulal, people just throw it in the eyes and mouth of people, and everyone becomes, miserable. It becomes a very painstaking event. So we should be very careful as how we are doing it. We should first know what is the intention of an activity and what are we trying to get out of this activity. An activity should be oriented in sharing happiness, increasing joy, not causing misery. Just for our pleasure, we are making other persons suffer. That should not be the attitude. We should be sensitive to the impact we are having. Our intentions may be good. Yes, we want to smear them with, nice colors. But what is the impact on them? How do they feel? Do they feel equally, that pleasure when we are treating them? Or are they just object of our, actions and feeling tormented afterwards, feeling miserable afterwards? That is an important aspect. Everyone is saying, oh yes, I have good intention, but then the impact is bad. So we have to also think of putting ourselves in another person's shoe, is looking at the impact of our actions on them from their view. When we look at it from that perspective, we should be very careful. What are we doing? How are we acting? And sometimes people say that, wait a minute, these devotees, they are constantly chanting the holy name and this is very tormenting. That is because you are inflicted So again, you have to also look at it, that we are chanting for our purification and purification of everyone around us. And sometimes being contaminated, maybe you just need to go, when you are ready, come back, right? To understand the perspective, that the perspective is purification, the perspective is to spread happiness. And because there is so much negativity in your heart that you don't want to spread happiness, you are happy when another person is miserable, then you don't like it when other person is spreading happiness, because that's like a negative effect. I'm putting a vote for Kali and you're putting a vote for Krishna. I don't like you putting a vote for Krishna. Well, that's your ignorance. We cannot help you. But at the same time, we can simply bow down to you from a distance and continue to serve Krishna, because that is our main service. There is a beautiful example given. So this is in, again, different faith, but same spiritual level as Lord Krishna's pure devotees. So once a priest asks a lady, do you love God? She says, yes, I love God. And then he says, so do you hate Satan? Do you hate evil? So she says, no, I don't. So the priest is surprised. You love God, yes, but you don't hate Satan. So you don't hate evil. She's like, no. And he says, how's that? She says, I have no time left after serving God to hate anyone, right? So I am serving God. That is my mode of serving God. So I don't have any time left to do anything else, to hate anyone. So the mood is of spreading love. That is the mood of a devotee. We want to just spread love, not worry about what's going on. Because Srila Prabhupada said, this material place, this material world is not a place for a gentleman. So we need to come out of it, and the easy way to come out of it is by serving Lord Krishna. Otherwise, trying to react to other people's negativity will only cause negativity. And unnecessarily, we don't want to spend our time in those activities. Rather, engage ourselves completely, consume ourselves in Lord Krishna's service. Sometimes people talk about their experiences in life when they get negative experience. Well, we talk about this wonderful story of Lord Vishnu and Devashi Narad. Devashi Narad thought that he is a great devotee, so he would go to Vaikuntha planet. He said to Lord Vishnu, who's your best devotee? Who's your topmost devotee? Who you consider the best? Of course, we know Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. But this is a story where Lord Vishnu wants to set an example for Prahlad, for Naradji. So when Devashi Narad asks this question, he takes Devashi Narad, they both disguise as travelers, just common people with turban and normal clothes, and they go to the house of a farmer, and they say, we are actually traveling through, so we would really appreciate if you can give us shelter for one night. So the farmer invites them at their home and gives them nice prasadam, whatever he had, and then he goes to sleep. Devashi Narad is surprised that this person seems to be a family man. He has wife and children, and he could hear that the man is telling his wife, don't worry, a guest is like God, it has been said in the scriptures. So these people have come, we need to serve them nicely and so forth. And his wife is complaining that, but we did not even get food. Not just us, our children did not get even a morsel of food, not even one, handful of food stuff to eat. They are sleeping hungry. He said, just drink water. Lord's mercy is there that we are getting the opportunity to serve someone. And next morning he goes to the farm, and they continue to they return from this house of the farmer. And Devashi Narad said, except for that few times at night, this man never chanted your name. He only remembered when his wife was complaining that we did not. And he's saying that the guest is like the form of Lord Hari himself, Bhagwan, Karupata, and so forth. So, how could he be your best devotee? So at that time, Lord Vishnu says, okay, Narad, I have a task for you. I want you to carry this pot of oil. And you have to carry this pot of oil, and it is filled to the rim. So a little shake could drop it, and I'm sending these two messengers with swords in their hand. Even if a drop falls off, they will chop off your head. You will lose your life. So Devashi Narad, means this is an order given by Lord Hari, so he immediately takes to it, and his managing this pot of oil filled to the rim, and he's going around the earth, and he comes back and he says, after like great relief, he's like, Lordship, I have completed your task, here's the pot. And then Lord Vishnu asks him, how many times did you chant my name? He's like, how could I chant? I was so focused on looking at this pot that not a drop should fall. I did not get the chance. And Lord Vishnu says that think of it this way, that he is carrying many pots on his shoulder, just like this. But he is still remembering me. While you, just with one pot, could not remember me. Yet at the same time, there is another lesson in this moral story. What is that lesson? That when we engage ourselves fully in serving Lord Krishna, just like managing that pot of oil, Devashinada, he had his full concentration. So that is the concentration we want to bring in our service. So that when we serve Lord, we serve Him so that nothing else is visible to us, but just service. And this service with such a manner that we are also associating very nicely, because it is always satsanga, it is congregational chanting. So it is done in the association of devotees with the focus on Lord Krishna. Yet at the same time, we should understand that others may get distracted, but we should not get distracted along with them. We should stay on keep our focus on the pot, which is devotional service. So that is the mode we should try to take. And here, after this wonderful, so again we compared holy versus this nice event where people were throwing, and all the ingredients that were thrown here were water, milk, yogurt smeared with turmeric and saffron, so with lustrous yellow color. So all of these are actually good for our skin, and the kind of stuff we actually share during the holy festival, it's just a sentimental event has become. It's losing its meaning because people are just looking for their sense enjoyment, and they take all kind of abominable things during this event. Something that we need to look back, that all the things in the Vedic times were used which were good for the body, while in current times is a perverted reflection, which are things that are hurting to our body. If it goes in our eyes become irritated, ears become irritated, goes in the mouth and nose, it becomes disgusting and so forth. While even if yogurt and milk would go in the mouth, it would be very nice. And it's mixed with saffron, the king of the spices, and has this yellow luster, as well as turmeric, which is purifying even for the liver. So it's again, all these antibiotic features are there. So that's how Holi was played in old times. So if we want to play Holi, let's play it in that mode, looking at, is the person really going to enjoy it? And try to improve ourselves. So the focus is on constantly improving ourselves. After this happens, the various king and princes, they are nicely gifted. So the charity has been performed as well to the Brahmanas, and who is performing as per Vyasdev's Mahabharata commentary? Karna, who is also known as Danvir Karna. He performs charity. And Duryodhana, he was hoping. Now this is a very interesting thing. This is a great quality of Karna, because he also has an amsha of Surya Dev, Vivaswan in him. While Duryodhana is an expansion of, he is an expansion of Kali age. So he always thinks in a malign order, always seeking quarrel and hypocrisy. Those are the two characteristics of Kali age. He's showing that. So when he's collecting and keeping record in the treasury, and all these gifts that are coming, these kings are bringing, and the various princes and kings they're bringing to for Rājasūya of Yudhishthira Maharaj, the treasury houses were full. There was no room. So Mahadana had created this giant 90,000 square meters palace, assembly house, living quarters, and big treasury house. All the treasury house were filled, so much so that there was, jewels and treasure on the bullock cart still outside once again. So even though, so they left it outside, that it will be taken care of afterwards. So Duryodhana was surprised. He was shocked to see so much wealth. He had never seen so much wealth. So because of that, the envy was increasing. Kamaesha, Krodhesha, Rajo Guna Samudbhava, Mahashano Mahapapma, Vidyam Evam Verinam. So again, this is like from lust anger arises. So he's getting angry and he's becoming more and more envious. And one of the other things that happened after this, why Rājasūya sacrifice was going on, this yajna was going on, is that he realized that in one generation only one person can perform. So till Yudhishthira Maharaj is alive, he will not be able to perform Rājasūya sacrifice. And he sees so much wealth that he can perform Rājasūya sacrifice twice. So how could he perform Rājasūya sacrifice? If Yudhishthira Maharaj dies. So directly from conflict level 1, from problem solving, to the level where there is a greater conflict, he directly jumps to the 5th level, the top level, where the other person has to be killed for me to get this. That is his mentality. Either he be killed or I will commit suicide. That is his mentality coming out to be. He is going to reach that cliff point near the end of this chapter. But he is on his journey to that cliff point. He is feeling envious. So he proposes to Karna. So it's given in Mahabharata extensively. And if you read Jaimini's Mahabharata, it's more extensively given. Because Jaimini, he says that, Vidura also contributed. So Vidura was giving out the treasury, the gifts from Yudhishthira Maharaj's behalf. But Karna was so pious, he is Danvir Karna not just because of the last event where he gives us his kavach and kamandali, his armor, but also in this particular event, Karna, realizing that all this charity has to be given to the Brahmanas. And Lord Vivaswan, Suryadev is a great benefactor of Brahmanas. He even has forearm found as Lord Vishnu. So Karna brings his wealth. He gets wealth from Anga Desh. And he is distributing from his treasury all the Brahmanas. He is giving it. So that's glories of Karna. That he said, if I am the one giving charity on behalf of Yudhishthira, on behalf of Yudhishthira. So I'm not taking Yudhishthira's stuff. I'm doing it on behalf. So this is as if it is me giving charity, but on behalf of Yudhishthira. So he's giving it because he is taking that Yudhishthira is the emperor and I'm just a king under Yudhishthira because he was defeated by Bhim. So he takes it to heart and he does it in this manner, which is even more upsetting to Duryodhana. He was hoping that Karna would give, Karna has this attitude of giving large amount in charity, with all open arms. So all the treasury would be vacated. But rather, he is vacating his treasury, which actually Duryodhana is thinking is part of my treasury. So this is even a bigger jolt when he comes to know what Karna did. So he's getting to that higher level. And further, he gets so angry that after all these kings and princes, they have been nicely given gifts and they have departed. And as Lord Krishna wanted to leave, Yudhishthira Maharaj requests him and his queens to stay back. While Samba, Pradyumna and all of the Yadus, all of the descendants of Yadus, they go back to Dwarka. While they go back to Dwarka, someone attacks Dwarka. That's the next chapter, Shalva. But here what is happening is, Lord Krishna, seeing the mood of his devotee, Yudhishthira Maharaj, he agrees to stay with him for a little longer with his 16,108 queens. Duryodhana is burning in anger. It's like the burning. This is what happens. Anger burns us. It burns all piety. And especially a Vaishnava aparad. He's committing this Vaishnava aparad against, thinking ill of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So as he enters, he wants to enter the assembly hall, and as the guards, they try to stop him to get Yudhishthira Maharaj's, permission. He gets angry with them. That's a normal etiquette. Tell the person, who's the owner of the house that we have come. And the guards will inform the owner and then you will come, they will come and actually welcome you. Yudhishthira Maharaj would have come and welcomed him. But no, Duryodhana became angry at this guards that I have to take permission to enter. And he went in. So sometimes, because we have a loving relationship and we feel that somebody is stopping us, yes. Just like the Chatur Kumars were stopped by the the two gatekeepers. So the 4 Kumars were stopped by Jai Vijay and they got angry that how could they stop them. Well, there is a purpose because Lord Purna Vishnu did not want the Chatur Kumars to enter Vaikuntha. So that was also one of the purpose. Because if they entered Vaikuntha, nobody could have asked them to leave. And they were not yet ready. They were, still Brahmanvadi. They were still thinking that Brahman is all in all. It was when they smelled the tulsi at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu that they realize that Lord is a person. That Supreme Personality of Godhead is a person, not Brahman. Brahman is just an effulgence from his body. So that's where they understood the difference. So this is where we learn to understand as how things are. And Duryodhana, he is upset, so he enters getting angry at the gods, and he sees that, Yudhishthira Maharaj is sitting on this throne and he looks like Brahma. His opulence is compared to that of Lord Brahma, who is the topmost in Satyalok, the first living entity in this material universe. So he is even filled with more envy now. And on top of that, he's amazed that this amazing assembly hall has been built by Maya Danav. And as he's walking, and at this time Yudhishthira Maharaj welcomes him, treats him nicely, but all that he's ignoring. He's continuing to, like, okay, I'm taking a tour of your house myself, he's of your assembly hall and living quarters. So he enters and he's walking through the corridor, and at one place they're saying, it appears like water. He's like, no, there's no water. There is water, there is no ground. And then, he walks and he picks up his dhoti, when he's walking, and they're all smiling that, what is he doing? And they walk, and everyone is saying that this is ground. And he's like, whoa, this is a delusion by Mayadanav, that it is actually a solid ground. It's not water, but it appears that it's a water pond. And then as he moves forward, they warn him that there is water ahead. But he's like, you guys are joking. He's thinking that they are, just pulling his leg, something like that. And he doesn't heed to it. And he walks and he falls down because it's really water. It's a delusion by Mayadana. Delusion is created as if it's a flow, but it actually is a small water pool. So he falls in it. And when he falls, all the queens, they start laughing. Arjuna starts laughing, Bhima starts laughing, even Lord Krishna is smiling. And Yudhishthira Maharaj hearing that how Duryodhana is feeling. So he is feeling the impact, right? That what Duryodhana is feeling. They all had good intention to kind of like warn him and all that. But then, and this is sometimes we need to stop ourselves when somebody falls down, somebody makes a mistake. We should not, laugh at that person. Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice example where, one of his disciples had fallen down, and another disciple blasphemed and spread this news in all the congregation. And Srila Prabhupada told this disciple who had spread all these words around that you made it impossible for him to return back. If you had not done this, that person who had fallen down had an opportunity to improve and come back to Krishna consciousness. That is a big offense again. Towards the very parampara, because if somebody falls down, that's because somebody came under the spell of Maya, came under the spell of material energy. And of course, media just blows this out of proportion at times. They forget about the saintly qualities of even Mother Teresa. They say, oh, she writes, having a doubt, that means she is not a saint. That is the most abominable thing to even think of. While all her life she dedicated in serving humanity and the Mother Nature. And this is what they think. So it is very important that for us to use our intelligence, not be flown away by the media. Media is mostly what sells is bad news today. If this person has done bad to that person, this sells very easily. So media is 99.99999% filled with these kind of things. Rather, we should spread the message of Gita, message of Srila Prabhupada, message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and engage in devotional service and have spread this knowledge, spread this wonderful, discussion, this transcendental bliss across the universe, and try to find a cure in the process instead of going back and immersing ourselves, taking bath in negativity. So when we talk about criticizing others and laughing at others for their or having any negative thought towards others, we are actually taking bath with this dirty mud water, right? It's like it's muddy. We are ourselves pulling in this quicksand. And our time is precious. Let's not get caught in this quicksand, but rather come out. And here Duryodhana, he is feeling humiliated. And Draupadi, she says, Andhe ka beta andha, a blind man's son is blind. And this hurts Duryodhana. And he had very lusty feeling towards Draupadi because he had gone to her Swayamvar and he was attracted by her beauty. He wanted to enjoy her, but he tried to hit the eye of that fish that was rotating and he missed it. So just like many other kings and princes who were there in her Swayamvar, he was one of them. And he was very much attracted, and he was surprised to see the 16,108 queens of Lord Krishna who were walking around the palace in the beautiful forms, wearing silk, nice garments, with the tinkling of their pile, of the feet as they are walking, with nice giggling sounds as they are laughing and conversing with each other. And the pearl necklaces looking reddish because of kumkuma and so forth, their beauty is being glorified. And he was becoming more and more agitated and more envious. And when he hears everyone laughing and at him, and even though Yudhishthira Maharaj, from his eyes, he tried to signal to Bhim, Arjun and all the queens and Draupadi not to laugh, Lord Krishna sanctioned it. Because Lord Krishna, as Vasudeva Krishna, his purpose is to deliver the, burden of this earth. So the burden was all the evil kings. It is said that it is not the population, number of people that's burden of earth. Earth can contain the population of millions of people, but it cannot take the burden of one sinful man. Even a lying man is a sinful man. So that is the burden. So Lord Krishna, with this mood of having to deliver, so this event would cause Duryodhana to show his true colors, and this would be an opportunity where the battle at Kurukshetra would be fought and the burden of earth would be removed. So that is the mood Lord Krishna has. And so he stops, Yudhishthira Maharaj who stops, but afterwards he regrets, and many other personalities regret this incident where Duryodhana feels humiliated. One other lesson we hear is that if we do see some such qualities in others and they are spreading negativity, one of the things we can do is distance ourselves, because there is a saying, Kajal ki kotri mein kaisu bhi se anu jaye, ek li kajal ki lagi hai pe lagi hai. The meaning is that if you go to a room, a dark room, which has all its walls and the ceiling and the floor smeared with black powder, if you walk into that room and you come out, there has to be a tinge of that black powder on you. So it is very important for us to understand that it will have an impact. And Yudhishthira Maharaj feels this impact later on, where he has been called, because Duryodhana, he goes back and he is saying, either I take everything from Yudhishthira or I am going to commit suicide. And Shakuni at that time makes this plan of Dyut, right, the gambling match, where Yudhishthira Maharaj loses everything and he is sent for 12 years of forest life with his brothers and his wife Draupadi, and 1 year of Agyatwas, not known. If discovered again, 12 years would continue to proceed. So that is where this particular chapter ends, and it continues further in Mahabharata. The discussion is not here in Srimadbhagavatam because Parikshit Maharaj, he was already aware what happened afterwards, because this happened with his grandfathers. So he, is aware with Pandavas what had happened. So, but important lesson is for us to distance from such negativity and take shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and constantly look at serving Lord Krishna. And as we covered in the stories today, always try to spread happiness, not negativity. Spread the word of God. That is the mood of a devotee, and engage in devotional service. So for all the fathers, happy Father's Day to my spiritual father as well. Happy Father's Day, and please pray for your sons and daughters that they take shelter at the lotus feet of Shishi Radha Madan Mohan, Shishi Radha Shyam Sundar, Shishi Radha Govindji. And this is where we end this chapter. Hare Krishna. Please join us for Nasimadev prayers. जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, शीला प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, निताय गौ प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.